The millionaire came home early, and what he saw changed everything. Dusk settled over Seattle in a pale golden hue that glimmered against glass towers. The autumn wind carried a chill through the streets and slipped past the iron gate leading to Nathan Cole's mansion, the grand home of a celebrated architect and the head of a thriving design firm. The house, though bright with lights, always felt as silent as stone. That evening, Nathan came home earlier than usual. He had just finished a long meeting, his mind heavy, craving a few quiet hours. As his car stopped under the porch, he stayed inside for a moment, surrounded by an unsettling silence. Inside, there was no sign of Monica, his second wife, nor the faint sound of his daughter. Usually, Jasmine, a delicate 6-year-old with mild cerebral palsy, stayed in her room under supervision. But today, something felt different. A sound reached him. Laughter. Not the polite laughter of adults, but something bright, clear, and alive, like wind chimes on a summer afternoon. Nathan followed the sound down the hallway, descending the steps that led to the back garden. Then he froze. On the stone path, Jasmine was walking, without braces, without help, her small arms stretched out for balance. Beside her knelt Emily, the young housekeeper, both hands out as if ready to catch her at any moment. They were laughing together, a laughter so pure and radiant that even the air around them seemed to shimmer. Nathan couldn't believe his eyes. His little girl, the one doctors said might never walk on her own, was taking real steps. Small, trembling steps, but real. His throat tightened, his heart pounded. He stood still, frozen in awe. "You're doing it, Jasmine! One more step!" Emily's voice was soft, encouraging, like spring sunlight. Jasmine took another step, then another. Sweat beaded on her forehead, but her smile stayed bright. Then she looked up and saw him. "Daddy!" she cried, her voice ringing with pride and joy. Nathan blinked, almost in disbelief. He hurried forward, afraid she might fall, but Emily caught her gently in time. Both of them laughed, and Nathan stood there, breathless, speechless, overwhelmed. You're really walking?" he asked softly, his voice trembling. Jasmine nodded eagerly, her eyes sparkling. "Miss Emily teaches me every day." Emily lowered her gaze, flustered. "I'm sorry, Mr. Cole. I just wanted to help her a little." But Nathan didn't reply. He simply watched them, the child and the young woman, laughing together in the fading golden light. Nathan stood there for a long while, motionless. Before him, Jasmine leaned gently against Emily's shoulder, breathing fast but still smiling. The scent of freshly cut grass filled the air, soft and warm like the quiet triumph that surrounded them. "How long?" Nathan's voice came out rough. "How long have you been doing this?" Emily stiffened, her hand resting protectively on Jasmine's shoulder. "About 6 months, sir." 6 months? Nathan repeated, almost whispering. 6 months, and I had no idea. Emily lowered her head, embarrassed. "I never meant to hide it from you. It's just, you're always busy, and I was afraid if I told you, you might say no." Nathan stared at her, not with anger, but with a strange heaviness in his eyes. What he saw wasn't disobedience, but concern. Genuine, selfless concern for his child. "Why did you do it?" he asked quietly. "No one asked you to." Emily swallowed hard, then spoke softly. "I had a younger brother. He had trouble walking too. We spent years at a rehabilitation center. I learned a few exercises from the therapists. And when I saw Jasmine, I remembered him. I just wanted to help, to give her hope." She looked up, her eyes clear and steady. "Jasmine needs someone to believe she can do it." The words pierced Nathan's heart like a pin of truth. He thought of the countless nights spent at the office, of phone calls and deadlines, of the little girl who waited for him and never complained. He had loved her in the way adults do, with money, with medicine, with comfort, but never with time. Jasmine tugged on his sleeve. "Daddy, today I walked the longest ever." He looked at her, at the spark in her eyes, the joy that had been missing for so long. Emily brushed the grass off her skirt, saying softly, "She works so hard. Every day she tries again, even when it hurts, even when she falls." Nathan turned to her. Her hands still trembled, her nails were dirty from the ground, but her eyes held unwavering strength. There was no pretense, no agenda, only care. He exhaled, voice low. "I don't know what to say." "Thank you, Emily." She shook her head gently. "You don't have to thank me, Mr. Cole. I didn't do it for that. I just wanted her to smile." For a long moment, no one spoke. Only the rustle of leaves and Jasmine's soft breathing filled the garden. Nathan realized something undeniable. This humble young woman had done what no doctor and no amount of money could do. She brought back his daughter's faith in herself. Jasmine looked up, eyes glimmering. "See, Daddy? I'm going to walk just like everyone else soon." Nathan smiled, a real smile, perhaps his first in years. He knelt and pulled her close. "I believe you, sweetheart. I really do." That night, the Cole mansion was quieter than ever. After dinner, Emily took Jasmine upstairs to bed. Nathan remained in the living room, staring at a half-empty cup of coffee, listening to the ticking clock, feeling an emptiness grow inside him. He still couldn't fully believe what he'd seen that afternoon. The image of Jasmine walking through the golden light, smiling brighter than ever, lingered vividly in his mind. Each trembling step seemed to echo inside him, waking something long dormant in his heart. As he walked past the staircase, he noticed Jasmine's door slightly open. A soft conversation floated out. He paused. "Miss Emily," Jasmine's small voice whispered, "do you think I can walk farther tomorrow?" "Of course, my brave girl," Emily replied warmly. Jasmine giggled. "Daddy will be so happy if I do." Emily hesitated, then said gently, "He saw you today, remember? He's so proud of you." A short silence followed. Then Jasmine's voice, softer than before, "But I don't know if Daddy likes being with me." Nathan froze. His heart clenched. The world seemed to stop moving. "You silly girl," Emily said softly, her voice trembling. "Of course he does. Your dad loves you more than you can imagine." "But," Jasmine's voice quivered, "he's always busy. When I talk, he looks at his phone. When I draw him pictures, he just says, 'That's nice,' and goes back to work. I just wish he'd play with me. But he never has time." Nathan closed his eyes. The words hit him harder than any truth he'd ever faced. He realized that every memory he had of his daughter was rushed, a quick goodbye, a fleeting smile, a door closing behind him as he left for another meeting. When Emily quietly left the room, Nathan pushed the door open and stepped inside. Jasmine looked up, startled. "Daddy!" He smiled faintly and sat down beside her. "You're still awake?" "I was talking to Miss Emily." "I know." He brushed a strand of hair from her face. "You know what, sweetheart? I'm so proud of you today." Jasmine grinned, dimples showing. "I'm happy, Daddy. Miss Emily says if I keep practicing, one day I might run." Nathan nodded, his smile faltering as she went on. "Daddy," she said softly, "you're my dad, but you're not my friend." The words cut deep, pure, honest, unguarded. Nathan stared at her small face, her clear eyes filled with innocence, not blame. He forced a smile through the ache in his chest. "If I wanted to be your friend, would you teach me how?" Her eyes widened in surprise, then sparkled with delight. "Really, Daddy? Really? Then you have to play with me. You have to listen to my stories, and you have to come to my lessons with Miss Emily every morning." Nathan laughed, an unfamiliar, genuine laugh. "Deal, my little friend, I promise." She wrapped her tiny arms around his neck. "Now I have two best friends, you and Miss Emily." He hugged her tightly. Warmth spread through his chest, a tenderness he hadn't felt in years. For the first time, he truly felt like a father. When Jasmine finally drifted to sleep, Nathan stayed beside her, watching her small chest rise and fall. He realized that some things can never be bought, like this moment. That evening, the house was unusually quiet. The soft light cast gentle golden streaks on the walls. Jasmine was already asleep upstairs. Nathan quietly went down to the living room and poured himself a glass of wine. Then he heard the faint sound of footsteps. Emily entered, still wearing her simple uniform, a cleaning cloth in her hand. Nathan looked up. "Emily, sit down. I want to ask you a few things." She hesitated for a moment, then nodded and sat across from him. Silence filled the space between them. Outside, a light breeze swept through the garden, making the porch light flicker. "Tell me," Nathan began, his voice low and husky, "how did it all start?" Emily tightened her grip on the edge of the cloth. After a pause, she spoke softly, as if afraid to disturb the calm of the night. "When I first arrived, Jasmine hardly spoke. She didn't smile, didn't want to play, didn't care about anyone. Every day after school, she would just sit by the window, staring out at the garden. Sometimes I'd hear her whisper, 'I wish I could run like them.'" Nathan lowered his head slightly. His heart sank. Emily continued, "I couldn't bear that look in her eyes. I knew what helplessness felt like. My younger brother once had a leg condition, and it took us a long time to help him walk again. I thought if Jasmine had someone who truly believed in her, she might find hope. So I started teaching her a few simple exercises. At first, it was just a try, but then Jasmine was more determined than I ever expected." She looked up, a gentle smile on her lips. "Every time she managed one more step, I could see the joy in her eyes. Even when she fell, she'd say, 'I'll try again.' I've never met a child so brave." Nathan stayed silent. Her story felt like tiny blades cutting into his heart. He thought of the years he had devoted only to blueprints, contracts, and the dazzling city he built, while his daughter's entire world had been just a cold window and a sigh. His voice trembled as he spoke. "You've done something I couldn't, Emily. You made her believe she could." Emily shook her head, her smile faint. "No, sir. I was just there when she needed someone to believe with her. Jasmine is the truly brave one." Nathan gazed at her for a long moment. His eyes no longer held the distance of an employer, but something warmer, respect, and something deeper still, a blend of gratitude and admiration. "You don't understand," he murmured. "To give someone hope, that's the most precious thing in this world." Emily smiled softly, her brown eyes glimmering in the dim light. "I just wanted Jasmine to believe she could do it. That's enough." Such a simple sentence, yet it left Nathan speechless. He looked at her and realized that within her quiet simplicity was a heart stronger and purer than anything he had ever known. The room sank into silence again. Outside, the wind carried the scent of grass and the cool breath of night through the half-open window. Nathan spoke softly, almost like a confession. "I've built countless skyscrapers, but I never knew how to build faith in my own child." Emily's reply was warm and gentle, like the breeze itself. "It's never too late, sir. You've already begun." Nathan looked out toward the garden where the light shimmered faintly, and he knew that something within him had truly changed. The golden light still spread across the living room as the conversation between Nathan and Emily faded into silence. After his words of gratitude, both simply sat there, listening to the soft wind tapping against the window glass. No one spoke, yet something had changed, gently, quietly, but unmistakably real. "You know," Nathan said softly, "it's been a long time since there was real laughter in this house." Emily smiled, her eyes calm as water. "That laughter doesn't belong to me, sir. It belongs to you and your daughter." "No," he murmured, shaking his head slightly. "You're the one who brought it back." The moment stretched between them, fragile yet warm. And right then, the sound of a door bursting open shattered the quiet. A familiar voice rang out, sharp and perfumed with arrogance. "Well, isn't this a touching scene?" Both turned around. Monica, Nathan's second wife, stood at the doorway in a pearl-colored evening gown, a glittering clutch still in her hand. Her eyes swept over them and stopped on Emily with open disdain. "You're home earlier than usual," Nathan said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Yes," Monica replied, her smile cold. "And it seems I've come back at the perfect time. You and your maid look quite comfortable together." Emily lowered her head quickly. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Monica. I was just—" Monica cut her off. "You don't need to explain. I've seen enough." She stepped into the room, the sharp sound of her heels striking the wooden floor. "What is this supposed to mean, Nathan? I leave for a few hours and you're sitting here in the middle of the night having heart-to-hearts with her?" "We were just talking about Jasmine," Nathan said slowly. "About how much she's improved." Monica raised an eyebrow. "Improved? You still believe that nonsense? You really think she'll walk normally? The doctors have made it clear, Nathan. Stop fooling yourself." Emily stood abruptly, her hands trembling together. "Excuse me, ma'am, but Jasmine is improving. She's already walked on her own for several minutes. If you would only see—" "Enough!" Monica snapped, her tone sharp as glass. "You're here to clean, not to teach my child." The air grew heavy and thick. From the staircase, Jasmine peeked out, startled by the shouting. Her wide eyes darted between the three adults. Nathan rose to his feet, his voice low but firm. "That's enough, Monica. Emily hasn't done anything wrong." Monica spun toward him, fury blazing in her eyes. "You're defending her now? A servant?" "No," Nathan said evenly, meeting her glare. "I'm defending the only person here who truly cares about Jasmine." The words dropped into the room like a thunderclap. Monica's mouth opened slightly before she let out a bitter, hollow laugh. "Oh, really? What's that supposed to mean, Nathan? I'm her mother." "You're her mother on paper," he said, each word calm and deliberate. "But the one who actually sees Jasmine, who believes in her, is her—" Monica's face went pale. "You dare speak to me like that?" "I'm just telling the truth." Silence fell again, tense and electric. Then Monica tossed her hair, her voice rising, trembling with rage. "Fine. If you care so much about her, then live with her. I'm done pretending to be part of this fake family." She turned sharply and stormed out of the room. The door slammed behind her, its echo lingering through the quiet house. Jasmine hurried down the stairs, frightened. "Daddy? Is Mommy angry?" Nathan knelt and opened his arms, pulling her close. "It's all right, sweetheart. Everything's going to be okay." After Monica left, the house sank into a heavy silence. Emily took Jasmine upstairs, her hand gently stroking the girl's hair, her voice soft as the wind. "Go to sleep, Jasmine. Everything will be all right." The little girl buried her face into Emily's shoulder, her eyes red with tears. "Miss Emily, is Mommy never coming back?" Emily kissed her forehead softly. "Go to sleep, sweetheart. Mommy will come back tomorrow." Jasmine nodded, smiling faintly through her tears. She hugged her teddy bear tightly. Emily began to hum a lullaby. Her gentle voice floated through the dimly lit room like moonlight filtering through a curtain, fragile yet warm. A while later, when Jasmine had fallen sound asleep, Emily pulled the blanket up to her shoulders, turned off the light, and quietly left the room. The door closed softly, leaving behind only the steady rhythm of the child's breathing. Downstairs, Nathan sat alone in the darkness of his bedroom. The lamp was off. The room was spacious, but the emptiness felt chilling. He leaned back against the headboard, his eyes staring into nothingness. Everything came rushing back, the memories he had tried to bury for so many years. The image of Anna, his first wife, appeared in his mind, her soft golden hair, her gentle laughter. He remembered that rainy night, the car losing control, crashing into the guardrail. That impact had taken Anna's life, and along with her, Jasmine's ability to walk. After the accident, everything fell apart. He lost the woman he loved, lost his faith, and lost himself. He lived in silence, as if the world had gone dark with Anna's death. Then Monica appeared, sweet, calm, bringing a hint of light back into his and Jasmine's lives. Because of her, laughter returned to the empty house. But over time, Nathan realized that light was only a thin coat of paint covering cracked walls. Monica had never truly loved him. She liked the stability, admired his success, but she never loved the broken man within. And lately, as his company began to struggle, the distance between them grew into an unbridgeable chasm. Parties, wine, glittering nights. Monica chose to escape into the noise, while he was dragged back into the silence of loneliness. The brighter the house shone from the outside, the darker it became inside his heart. Nathan slowly opened the drawer of his nightstand. A small bottle lay in his hand, the sleeping pills prescribed after Anna's death. He twisted the cap, staring at the white pills resting quietly like old, sorrowful memories. "Just one," he whispered, "just to help me sleep, at least for tonight." He swallowed the pill with a sip of cold water, then leaned back against the pillow, closing his eyes. In the haze of drowsiness, he thought he heard Anna's voice, blending with Emily's lullaby and Jasmine's laughter. Those three sounds intertwined, the past, the present, and hope, guiding Nathan gently into a deep, peaceful sleep. The next morning, Nathan woke earlier than usual. Sunlight spilled through the window, its golden glow reflecting on the framed family photo hanging on the wall. An old picture of him, Monica, and Jasmine standing together, their smiles not quite reaching their eyes. He stared at it for a long moment before turning away. Outside, he saw Emily helping Jasmine walk. The little girl moved slowly but steadily, one careful step at a time, her lips pressed tight, her eyes full of determination. Each time she nearly stumbled, Emily caught her, encouraging her with a soft voice like the wind. "Very good, Jasmine. Just 3 more steps." Nathan stood still in the doorway, watching them. Sunlight fell across their faces, one small and brave, the other patient and kind. And he realized that some of life's greatest achievements weren't built from steel and glass, but from moments as simple as this. From that day on, Nathan began to change. He canceled a few meetings, turned off his phone when he got home. In the mornings, he practiced walking with Jasmine. At noon, he and Emily shared lunch in the kitchen. Not a lavish meal, just a bowl of the simple soup she made. At night, he read stories to his daughter before bed and found himself smiling more, talking more, and sometimes just sitting quietly, content. Emily kept her usual distance. She didn't talk much, working silently as always. But whenever Jasmine laughed, she would glance at Nathan, her eyes filled with quiet joy. One afternoon, while Jasmine was napping, Nathan called her out to the porch. "Thank you, Emily," he said. "Because of you, I've realized I've been living the wrong way for years." Emily smiled. "You don't have to thank me, sir. Anyone can start over, as long as they truly want to. He looked at her, his voice soft. "I used to think I had everything, but now I see. I only had things that could easily be lost. When I look at Jasmine now, I feel peace. I'd forgotten what that felt like." Emily lowered her gaze, her voice gentle as a breath. "Sometimes what people need isn't success, but a reason to smile every day." Nathan said nothing. Her words struck deep. Simple, yet true. That evening, as he stepped out of his study, Jasmine ran toward him and wrapped her small arms around his legs. No crutches, just her tiny hands holding on tight. "Daddy, I walked so far today." He bent down, lifted her up, and smiled softly. "I know. I saw it all." In that moment, Nathan understood. Some changes don't need words or promises, only genuine presence. A week passed. The sky over Seattle was a rare, perfect blue. The first rays of morning sunlight streamed through the trees, casting a golden glow on the stone steps where Jasmine stood, her small hand clasped tightly in her father's. Beside them, Emily gently adjusted the little girl's coat, a kind smile resting on her lips. "Are you ready, Jasmine?" Nathan asked, his eyes shining with quiet faith. Jasmine nodded eagerly, her eyes bright with excitement. "I want to show the doctor that I can walk now." They got into the car together. The road to the hospital felt shorter than ever that morning. Nathan drove, while Emily sat in the back seat with Jasmine, telling her stories about the clouds drifting across the sky. Their laughter mingled, filling the small space with a simple, peaceful warmth that made Nathan's heart feel light. When they arrived, Dr. Miller, the physician who had been treating Jasmine, came out to greet them. His eyes widened as he saw the little girl standing beside Emily, no crutches, just her tiny, trembling legs holding her steady. "Hello, Jasmine," he said with a gentle smile. "Were you planning to surprise me today?" Jasmine grinned. "Yes, I'm going to walk all by myself." Nathan and Emily stood side by side, watching as Jasmine took slow, careful steps down the hospital corridor. Every step was a triumph, every smile a thank you. When she reached the bench at the other end, Dr. Miller clapped softly, his eyes shining with amazement and emotion. "I can hardly believe it," he said, his voice filled with awe. "Her test results and reflexes have improved tremendously. If she keeps practicing, Jasmine may be able to walk almost normally." Nathan held his breath. For that brief moment, it felt as though the entire world had stopped. He looked at his daughter, then at Emily, and smiled, a smile full of gratitude and relief. "Thank you, Doctor," he said quietly. "And thank you to the one who never stopped believing." The doctor turned to Emily with a kind smile. "You've been teaching her, haven't you?" Emily nodded modestly, a little flustered. "I only did a small part, Doctor. Jasmine did most of it herself." "Small things," the doctor replied, "are often the greatest miracles." When they left the hospital, the sky above shone as brightly as their hearts. Jasmine sat in the car, talking endlessly about her dreams. To go to school like other kids, to run in the playground, to play tag. Nathan listened, his eyes softer than they had been in years. That afternoon, when they returned home, Jasmine ran straight to the garden. No longer the fragile child she once was. Now she walked on her own along the stone path, her hair fluttering in the breeze. Emily walked beside her, smiling, her face glowing in the sunlight. Nathan stood watching from the porch, hands in his pockets, pride shining in his eyes. He thought of the man he'd been just months ago, a man consumed by work, living in a house filled with silence. And now, as he heard his daughter's voice calling, "Daddy, look at me," he knew he had truly come back to life. When Jasmine grew tired, Emily lifted her gently onto the stone bench. Nathan walked over and laid a small blanket over her shoulders. The golden light of dusk wrapped around the three of them, warm and tender, like a cherished memory. "Thank you, Emily," Nathan said softly, his voice low and sincere. Emily smiled, her eyes glistening. "I only did what my heart told me to. Jasmine deserves to be happy, and so do you." They looked at each other in silence. A gentle breeze stirred, carrying the scent of jasmine blossoms from the garden. Somewhere nearby, a butterfly fluttered past, brushing against Jasmine's shoulder and making her laugh. That laughter rang out clear and bright, like the sound of a brand new beginning. At that very moment, Monica returned home. Nathan froze for an instant. Behind him, Emily tightened her hold on Jasmine's hand. Monica looked at him, a faint, indifferent smile on her lips. "You don't need to look so surprised," she said calmly. "I only came to tell you one thing." Nathan said nothing. "I've filed for divorce," she continued, her voice steady and cold. "I'm tired of playing this role. Keep the house if you want." Jasmine looked up at her father, confused. Nathan knelt down, gently stroked her hair, then lifted his gaze, speaking in a quiet, even tone. "I understand, and I won't fight it." Monica blinked, caught off guard. "You're not even going to try to stop me?" "No," Nathan replied softly, his expression serene. "Because you left us a long time ago. Today is just the final period at the end of something already gone." Monica's grip on her purse tightened. Without another word, she turned and walked away. Emily knelt down, wrapping her arms around Jasmine. The little girl looked at her father and whispered, "Daddy, is Mommy gone?" Nathan nodded gently, smiling faintly. "Yes, sweetheart, but you still have me, and Miss Emily too." Emily looked up, her eyes clouded with quiet sadness. "I'm sorry if my presence has caused—" Nathan shook his head, cutting her off. "Don't say that. Monica didn't leave because of you. She left us long ago. Today was simply the day we let go." Emily pressed her lips together, saying nothing. Jasmine rested her head on Emily's shoulder, softly humming the lullaby from earlier. Nathan watched them, his eyes warm. Inside him, the storms had passed, leaving only the calm peace of a new beginning. As time passed, Nathan Cole's mansion was no longer the silent house it once had been. The white walls that had once echoed with emptiness were now filled with laughter, chatter, and the clumsy piano melodies Jasmine practiced every morning. Each day began with sunlight streaming through the windows, shining over the blossoming garden. Emily woke early to make tea, while Nathan helped Jasmine put on her training shoes. "Are you ready?" he asked, half teasing, half nervous. Jasmine took a deep breath, her smile radiant. "I'm ready, Daddy." And so the morning practice began. Nathan stood on one side, Emily on the other, both encouraging the little girl. "One more step, Jasmine," Emily said gently. "I know you can do it," Nathan added, his hand clenched, his eyes following every small, careful movement of his daughter. Step by step, Jasmine walked more steadily than ever before. When the clock marked 10 minutes, Nathan could hardly believe his eyes. She was still standing upright, her cheeks flushed, her breathing fast, but her eyes were shining with pure joy. "Daddy, look at me!" Jasmine shouted, her voice ringing with triumph. Then she laughed and ran toward him on her small, sturdy legs. Nathan froze for a heartbeat, then opened his arms wide. The little girl fell softly against his chest. He held her tightly, tears spilling down as he smiled. "You did it, Jasmine. I'm so proud of you." "I told you," she said, looking up at him, eyes glimmering. "I'm going to run with you, without crutches." Nearby, Emily stood with one hand pressed to her chest, as if to steady the emotion welling inside her. Her smile was gentle as the morning light, warm as spring itself. In her eyes shone pride, tenderness, and something deeper still, a peace she had never known before. Nathan lifted his gaze and met her eyes, and in that moment he understood. This woman hadn't just cleaned his house, she had quietly swept away the loneliness in his heart. 2 years passed in the blink of an eye, and Jasmine could now walk perfectly on her own. That afternoon, the sunset cast its golden light across the garden. The breeze carried the faint scent of jasmine, mingling with the soft laughter of the little girl playing with the kitten they had recently adopted. On the porch, Nathan and Emily sat side by side, steam rising gently from their teacups as the last rays of sunlight reflected on their faces. Jasmine ran toward them, her hair tousled, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Daddy," she chirped, "can Miss Emily stay with us forever?" The innocent question made Nathan pause. He looked at his daughter, then at Emily. She blushed, her hands clasped together nervously, unsure what to say. Nathan smiled, a warm, sincere smile. "I hope so too, Jasmine," he said softly, his eyes never leaving Emily. In that moment, everything around them seemed to stop. The golden light of dusk wrapped around the three of them, gentle and comforting like a warm blanket. Emily lowered her head, her eyes glistening. She didn't speak, but silent tears rolled down her cheeks. "You don't have to cry," Nathan said, his voice low and tender. "You've given us something I thought was lost forever." She shook her head, her voice trembling. "I only did what anyone else would have done." "No," Nathan replied softly but firmly. "Not everyone has a heart like yours." A light breeze swept through, lifting a few strands of Emily's hair. Nathan looked at her, his eyes filled with that quiet, deep light, the look of a man who had finally realized what he truly needed. "Emily," he said gently, "I don't want you to be just the housekeeper in this home anymore." Emily looked up, startled. "But I don't belong in your world. You're a successful man, and I'm just—" "The one who brought me back to life," Nathan interrupted, his smile as soft as a breath. "My world isn't the company or those buildings. My world is here, where my daughter is, and where you are." Emily gazed at him, speechless. A tear that still clung to her cheek slipped down, catching the fading light of the setting sun. Jasmine ran over and climbed into her lap, using her tiny hands to wipe the tears from Emily's face. By then, the sunset had faded, replaced by a sky full of shimmering stars. "You know," Nathan said quietly, "the day I met you, I never imagined I'd find a family." Emily looked at him, her lips trembling, her voice as soft as the night breeze. "Thank you for giving me a place to belong,"